My name is Linda Kroll, and I'm so glad you're joining me. Whether you're here for your own practice because you help individuals who are going through divorce and couples, or because of your own relationship, or like in my case, I was both. I was a therapist going through my own divorce and separation. So I learned a lot that I'd like to share with you. I'm thrilled that you're here. I want to talk from my heart to your heart, or give you the tools that I've used for over 35 years as an IFS therapist, mediator, attorney, Chopra Certified Teacher of Meditation, Yoga, and Ayurveda. I blended my therapy, my mediation, law, and spiritual coaching into a process that I call compassionate mediation. Having gone through my own divorce and separation and ambivalence for many years, I realized that healing along the way is very important. It takes people sometimes 2 to 10 years to vacillate. Do I want to stay? Do I want to go? Do I have to settle? Do I have to get divorced? And they stay stuck and they procrastinate making a decision. Maybe they go to therapy for years to work on the same issues, but often what they're doing is complaining about their partner instead of taking a look at what changes they need to make internally to change their relationship. If you're thinking of a divorce, if you're separated, if you're going through a divorce, there are so many feelings that come up. The ambivalence, the hurt, the guilt, the fear, the uncertainty, the confusion. Deep breath with me here. So when you get the support you need, you don't have to feel stuck. When I was married, I married my college sweetheart. We were married for 20 years. And when we were looking at the possibility of ending our relationship, I stayed stuck. I vacillated. I went to therapy, but nothing was really moving the needle. And then I wished I had someone I could turn to that could give me the support, the guidance, the information I needed. I'm going to offer that to you and then show you how you can get more of that in the future. Imagine that you could make calm and confident decisions for your future and be informed and empowered every step of the way. I know when I was going through my separation and divorce, I felt very alone, very afraid, very confused. I think my friends and family got tired of giving me an ear when I wished I could be moving forward. But I didn't do that. So instead, what I did was stay stuck. But just because your marriage might be ending and that dream might be ending, the marriage may have an expiration date, but you can still make a dream for your future. And the best time for new beginnings is now. So let's make some new beginnings for yourself. When you think about if you could wave a magic wand, what would you like to see happen? Do you want a better relationship? Do you want to stay? Do you want to go? You're going to be stuck in victimhood if you're in your own relationship challenges. I don't want that for you. I want you to feel empowered, where you don't have to be afraid to start all over again, because no matter what the new story is, you may like it better. And what that means is you may create a new and better relationship with your partner by using some of the tools I'm going to give you. But if it means that you truly are going to separate or divorce, I'm going to give you a roadmap for doing it with compassion, with kindness, with courage, and with confidence. Imagine, what if you could make empowered decisions? We need support along the way. And some people aren't married, but they still want to decide, are they going to stay in the relationship or are they going to leave it? The way you make empowered decisions is you first learn how to come from your best self, create a compassionate relationship so you can discuss all the options. Then you need to learn what your options are, because if you don't know, you think it's stay stuck or get divorced. There's a rainbow of options in between. Then you have to understand your rights and finances. And a lot of people are confused by that, and they're afraid to make a move. As a person in a conflictual relationship, learn what your options are, understand your rights and finances, then you realize you can begin to make the changes you need. I do believe families need not be broken, but can be peacefully and respectfully restructured. So let's think about that. The typical adversarial divorce, where you get a lawyer, where you fight in court, where a judge decides, that destroys families. It destroys finances. It destroys relationships. It destroys the parental union. And I often say that the biggest gift we can give our children is to minimize conflict. and protect them from the shrapnel of our animosity. So we don't have to destroy families. This doesn't have to be your parents' divorce or your grandparents' divorce. You can part with compassion. You can create 2 new homes where your children feel safe and loved. And you can become friends even as you end your marital relationship. I was married to my college sweetheart. 20 years into the union, it looked like we were going to get divorced, and I was already a lawyer. I became a mediator so that I could helpfully mediate my divorce, which is not a good idea. A codependent mediating her own divorce doesn't know how to set boundaries or ask for what she wants and needs. We finally went to mediation. That didn't work. Then we ended up in court. And I told myself, as I sat across from my beloved soon-to-be ex-husband in court, I told myself there had to be a better way. There had to be a better way to end a marriage where 2 people once promised to love each other forever, and now we're looking at ending the union. In my 35 years of practice, I merged my training as an IFS therapist, as a mediator, as a lawyer, and as a spiritual coach. I put them all together and I wrote the book, Compassionate Mediation: How to Add Passion to Your Marriage or Compassion to Your Divorce. If you want a free chapter of the book, go to lindakrollbook.com and you can get a free chapter there. Dick Schwartz, who's the head of Internal Family Systems, has said about my book that it's relationship healing at its best. I also wrote the book, Compassionate Divorce: Changing the Face of Divorce One Heart at a Time, because I feel that's what we need to do. We need to look into our own hearts first. Take a breath with me here. And if you're on the verge or contemplating or going through a separation or divorce, or even past a divorce, your heart is hurting. I know what it felt like. I remember when I was going through my own divorce, I was separated for a very long time. We were separated almost a decade. We were living separate lives, but I remember the heartache that I felt. And sometimes I walked in the world wishing that I had a D in the middle of my forehead, so people would know that I was going through a divorce and would treat me more kindly. Any way along the path, contemplating a divorce, a separation, going through it, past it, you're left with wounds. And those wounds go deep. And depending how much acrimony there was, depending how much codependency there was, depending on how much emotional abuse there might have been, those wounds last a long time. And I want to be here to help you heal. And I want to help you, if you're professional, to help your clients heal. We're not always in our best self in the relationship we're in. In other words, we've gotten into some bad habits. The bad habits might be withholding, judgmental, blaming, shut down. You may have a filter through which you're judging your partner. He always does this. He never does that. You may have built walls around your heart so that you don't get hurt anymore. So your partner looks at you and he sees the walls and there's nobody home, and then he stops trying. So showing up as your best self, create a compassionate relationship. And that's important because in a compassionate relationship, you can talk about everything. Even talking about an ending can be compassionate. But when you are coming from your best self, you explore your options. You can create a compassionate relationship, share your understanding of your finances and your rights and responsibilities, and then truly create a new relationship with your partner, whether you choose to create a new and better marriage or you choose to separate or divorce. Wayne Dyer has said, he's one of my favorites, he says, when we change the way we look at something, what we look at changes. And what that means is, if you're looking at your situation, if you're looking at your relationship from the filter of victimhood, judgment, powerlessness, hopelessness, blame, anger, resentment, guilt, shame, any of those parts of you, if you're looking at your relationship like that, you're going to feel like a victim. You're going to feel stuck. You're going to feel powerless. You're going to feel overwhelmed with all the decisions you might have to make. Take a deep breath with me here. It doesn't have to be that way. Because when you look at the situation from your higher self, and I'm going to explain that right now, you're going to see it from a different vantage point. As an IFS therapist, we talk about self as being that spiritual center where we're calm, clear, compassionate, but we're not always in self. We're in parts that we exile and push aside, parts that we manage with, parts that we get extreme with. I want to show you how to be your best self, because when you become your best self in your relationship, you change the relationship. So if you do your own work first, practice your own self-care, love your parts, understand your family of origin and how it affected you, do the work inside you that you need to do first, or help your clients do this first. Then you make decisions from your highest and best self. It's not the other way around. A lot of people think, let me just get divorced and then I'll be better. Be better first. Become your best self first, and then decide. Because when you bring your best self back to your current relationship, and you're no longer walled, defensive, reacting, judging, blaming, but you're really coming from a calm, clear, compassionate place where you can use I messages to speak about your hurt, your sadness, your fear. When you're in self, in IFS terms, you're calm, clear, compassionate, curious, confident, courageous, connected, and I added grateful. Bring any of that back to your relationship now. Help your clients get to their best self and see what happens when they do that. But we're not always in self. We're in parts. And the parts that we're in affect how we change our relationship. For instance, if you have a part that's angry and resentful, and you're talking to your partner with anger and resentment and judgment and blame, they can't hear you. But if you talk about your I messages, I feel sad and hurt, it makes a difference. So sometimes we exile the parts of us that are sad or scared or hurt or vulnerable. Some of us exile our anger too. But this is the ultimate. What about me? Who's going to love and care for me the way I need? And then we go out in the world and we manage. Some of us manage by being nice, pleasing, caretaking. Some of us blame, judge, get angry. But this is what I call the pseudo self, where we're trying to look like we're quote in self, but we're feeling a lot of those feelings underneath. And then what we do is get extreme. We get addicted to things. We may have an affair. We may get revengeful or rageful or depressed or put up walls. Or we may go hire an attorney and say, get me divorced. Take a deep breath. It does not have to be that way. You don't have to hide your feelings and pretend everything's okay. It's okay if you're grumpy sometimes. We all get grumpy sometimes, but inside, we are still yearning for connection, to be close. We're going to give you an opportunity to begin to be your best self, to let go of your limiting beliefs and judgments, to unburden the pain from your past, to relate from your heart. And then ask for what you want and need in a way that your partner can hear you and not shut you out. And it could lead to a new and better relationship. It could lead to a more peaceful and respectful separation or divorce. And if you're past your divorce, it could lead to a new relationship with your former husband that allows you to feel safer when you're with him, that allows you to go to family events and not be reactive as you might have been in the past. You don't have to feel alone. Whether you're deciding whether to stay or go, whether you're navigating issues around parenting during a separation, whether you're in the middle of a contentious divorce where your lawyers have taken over and you feel out of control, or even past a divorce where you feel uncomfortable being in the same space with your ex. Heal and transform your life moving forward. Create a compassionate relationship. Because first of all, you have to be compassionate with yourself. Being compassionate with yourself is vital. And I find that many times the biggest problems people have is that they're not compassionate with themselves because they can't forgive themselves for the decisions they've made or not made. In other words, there's a lot of my clients who have been mad at themselves for staying for years, for being codependent in what felt like a narcissistic, abusive situation. I tell them they did the best they knew how to do according to the level of awareness at the time. Whether you're helping your clients realize this or you need to realize it now, put your hand on your heart and tell yourself, I did the best I can according to the level of awareness that I had. And now I can do better. And I totally and completely forgive myself for any decisions I made or didn't make. So take a deep breath. And if you have any parts that are debating that, I'd love to help you because you can heal that. You do deserve to be happy. And you did the best you could based on your family of origin. I came from a family where my father was manic depressive. He yelled all the time. So I grew up afraid of anger. I grew up afraid of his anger. I was afraid of my husband's anger. I was afraid of my anger. So when it came time to set boundaries or say no or ask for what I wanted and needed, I couldn't do it. I realize now I was conditioned to be codependent, to want to take care of other people's feelings, to put other people's needs in front of my own, to have trouble with boundaries, to avoid conflict, to not say no, to have an external locus of control where I was judging myself by what other people thought of me instead of what I knew internally to be true for me. If any of that fits for you, forgive yourself. You've done the best you know how to do, and now you can do better. And what you're going to do to create a compassionate relationship is once you forgive yourself, you're going to find it easier to forgive your partner, because the miracle of empathy that we'll talk about in just a minute is where you use I messages. You don't use you messages. You don't say you were bad or you are selfish or you neglected me. You say, when you yell, I feel hurt. It's an I message for them to hear, understand, and empathize with. And as you practice the miracle of empathy, be kind to the inner child inside of each of you, because we all have an inner child. We all yearn for affection, attention, appreciation, and acceptance. We all yearn to be seen with love and be valued. Focus on your own needs. Focus on your own self-care. Focus on what you can do to change your life, no matter what your partner does. And most of all, to take the time you need to make these decisions. When you take the time, you realize that you're not on the ledge. I have so many people come to see me and they've been frustrated for so long that they feel, I just need to make a decision. I just need to decide. I just need to separate. I just need to get a divorce and then I'll be okay. Again, deep breath. That's not how you do it. You take care of yourself first. You heal your heart. You practice self-care. You become more calm, confident, courageous, compassionate with yourself so that you can be compassionate with your partner. You can still choose to leave your partner. But in compassionate mediation, we talk about adding passion to your marriage or compassion to your divorce, meaning you recognize that not only have you done the best you knew how to do, but so has your partner. And if you're not compatible, if you have to move on, find a way to do it compassionately, not just for each of your sakes, but especially for your children's sakes. You don't want your children to marinate in the energy between the two of you, even if you're not yelling. A sigh, an eye roll, a shrug, a grumpy tone. They hear it, they feel it, they take sides, they're torn. Finding a way to compassionately create a new relationship is what you need to do, what you can help your clients to, and what I help you do. Also, you want to explore all of your options. And the reason I say that is because there are so many options you can take a look at. And most people don't know what they are. They think I have to stay stuck where I am or I have to get divorced. Not true. Some of the options are you can go to counseling, you can go to marriage counseling, you can have more date nights, you can get some sex therapy, you can create a postnuptial agreement where you agree on certain things as in a prenuptial agreement that makes you feel more financially secure. You can go to a financial planner and see what your roles and responsibilities are and how to change those. You can decide to separate without any legal options. You can create a legal separation and you can get divorced. And every step along the way has so many decisions that you need to make. I want to help you make them from an empowered perspective, where you feel fully informed, enlightened, supported, guided, so that when you decide what you want to do about the house, where you're going to live, what you're going to do about money, all of that, and even how you relate to each other in a co-parenting situation, you can do it with compassion. You can do it from your higher self. So all of the options are available to you. And even if you get divorced, there's more options. If you get divorced, you have to dialogue with your partner. Now, you could turn it over to your attorneys. I don't suggest that. I always suggest mediation. I'm going to give you that information. It's in my compassionate mediation program. You have access to all the videos and audios and transcripts that I've created that gives you the benefit of talking to a therapist, mediator, attorney, spiritual coach, all in your back pocket. As you're exploring your options, You also need to look at your rights and finances. Most people don't know what they are. Many times you're in a relationship where the assets, the income is taken over by one party and the other party doesn't have much say. But you can learn how to be empowered in that discussion. You can find out where your assets are, what's in your retirement fund, what's in your pension fund, what are individual debts and assets, what's premarital, what's non-marital. What happened if you got divorced? How would you divide it? What would happen regarding alimony or maintenance? What are the child support guidelines in your area? You have to be informed so that you can make informed decisions for your future, but you have to do it by talking with your partner. Yes, you can go to court. And I sadly have known people who have spent up to $250,000 literally in court. Once they can't talk to each other, they fight about parenting, scheduling, money. And if they're fighting about parenting, they can get the court involved with a guardian ad litem, with psychological reports. It just gets endless. You don't have to do that. You can get the support. You can learn, if you're a therapist or coach or professional who works with individuals in conflict or couples in conflict. I'm going to tell you more about compassionate mediation and how you can learn more about that. But truly, you need to understand your rights and finances, and you need to help your clients do the same. It's more than income, assets, and debts. It's all about what the future would look like. And I often say that talking about an ending gives people courage to talk about a new beginning. Because many times in marriage counseling, and many of my clients have gone to marriage counseling for a long time, but unfortunately what happens is when you go to marriage counseling in the past, you didn't talk about divorce. You didn't talk about the parts of you that wanted to leave. So you weren't fully present because you had one foot out the door, but nobody was talking about it. But in compassionate mediation, we talk about compassionate communication, how to communicate from your highest and best self, let go of your limiting beliefs and judgments, unburden pain from the past, and relate from your heart. And once you learn compassionate communication, you then learn the miracle of empathy, where you can listen to the other person, where you can understand them, where you can truly empathize with their hurt, their sadness, their pain, and their fear. And then you can negotiate behavior changes. And you may not be compatible anymore, but even if you're not, you can still be grateful for everything that you've shared up until this point. So there's so much to learn. And as you learn that, you will find that you can create the relationship you desire and deserve. And I'm going to give you a couple hints right now on how to do that. So if you have a pen and paper, I'm just going to give you a few acronyms that would be very helpful. And here they are. I'm going to give you the 5 steps to receive what you want and need, and the spiritual graph to heal your ego's wounds. Let's start with the 5 steps to get what you want and need. Here they are. Just write these words down, please. Remember, deserve, ask, receive, be grateful. Remember, deserve, ask, receive, be grateful. And what that means is remember what it is you want and need. Oftentimes when people come to me, they're so focused on what they don't want anymore. They don't want the deception, the lies, the anger. They don't want what they don't want. But it's time to shift your vision. Remember what you do want: friendship, passion, intimacy, safety, honesty, fun, love. Think about what you do want. And then part 2 is know that you deserve it. And sadly, that is where many people get stuck, because whether they have wounds from their family of origin, prior relationships, or even in the current relationships, they've lost confidence in themselves. They've lost the ability to realize they are a divine being worthy of love. And if you don't know you deserve it, then when you ask for it, it becomes a whine or a nag or an ultimatum. It doesn't have to be that. When you remember what you want, when you know you deserve it, then your ask becomes a request. You tell your husband, I want to communicate better. I want to feel safe with you. I want to renegotiate our roles. I want to become a partner in the finances. I want to share more of the parenting. Then when you ask it, be willing to receive it. Even if it's not 100%, be willing to receive whatever he's willing to do. And 5, be grateful so that you can get more of it. So once you remember what you want, know you deserve it, learn how to ask for it, receive it graciously, and be grateful. You're going to get more of it. So those are the 5 steps. Okay, deep breath with me here. I'm going to talk for a moment about the spiritual graft. And if you're a professional who works with individuals or couples, offer this to them as well. I've learned in my many years of practice that most of the suffering we feel is because of our ego's wounds, the parts of us that have expectations. And someone once said that expectations are premeditated resentments. Good quote, not mine, but expectations are premeditated resentments. So when we have expectations and judgments and the way people should treat us and the need to be in control, when our ego tries to take over, we run into roadblocks, and then we get upset, and then we get disappointment, and then we get hurt, and then we get angry. I found that if we take a spiritual graft, Graft, and apply that to your ego's wounds. So think about this either in your own relationship, think about it if you can offer it to your clients. Here's the graft. G is for gratitude, RA, radical acceptance, F, forgiveness, T, trust. So what that means, look at your current situation, whatever you're feeling now, the ambivalence, the hurt, the certainty, the anger, the fear, and go to gratitude. Gratitude, if you have children, gratitude for your children, gratitude for your home, gratitude for your friends, extended family, gratitude for whatever it is that you stayed for, that you've been happy with. Lean into that instead of the negative. RA, radical acceptance. What that means is, it is what it is. You don't have to fight about it. You don't have to try to change him. You can change yourself, but you radically accept the situation as it is. And it takes the charge off. It takes the anger, the resentment, that the energy that you might be putting out. So radically accept what is, and then add forgiveness. Remember I talked to you earlier about forgiveness. Forgive yourself. Forgive your partner. You've both done the best you know how to do. And then trust. Trust in your higher self. Trust in God if you believe in God. Trust in the universe. Trust in your therapist. Trust in me. Trust in a process that will lead you to wherever you are going to be led next, which will be your highest good if you're taking inspired action steps from your highest and best self. And that's what I want to help you do. I want to help you go from heartache to hope, to healing and happiness. If you go to lindakroll.com roadmap, if you're a therapist or coach or professional, you're going to get the roadmap of my whole compassionate mediation process. And I have continuing education courses for you that we can talk about that are evergreen and available. And I also have a certification. Whether you're on the floor doing yoga, at your office, wherever you are, you can tap into a community that understands you, that is here for you, that wants to support you. You get all access to my compassionate mediation program, 6 hours of videos, audios, templates, handouts, journals, information about everything you need to know. You get access to our members only community. You get live calls with me each month. You get a success path that you can follow from one place to another. Just a brief reminder of compassionate mediation. It helps individuals and couples have emotional and spiritual healing along with legal and financial information and support. So you can restructure your current relationship. So even if you thought about a divorce, even if you're separated, even if you are divorced, you could create a new relationship with your partner and move through your life with a new relationship. Or you can separate under the best possible conditions for all concerned. And if you want a chapter of the book, go to lindakrollbook.com for a free chapter which explains a lot of what we've been talking in compassionate mediation, in my certification training. We talk about all the issues, emotional, spiritual, physical, legal, financial, that you're going to have to make decisions about. So having you make empowered decisions, ones that you feel fully connected to, fully supported by, that's what I want to help you do. Happiness is your goal. There is hope ahead. You will have someone on your journey. The compassionate mediation program is your bridge from where you are now to where you want to go. And I want to be by your side as you do that. I've had a lot of testimonials. I've just put this one up that I came to Linda seeking mediated divorce documents and came out with nothing but peace and hope. I want you to be able to say that about your relationship. And if you're a professional, I want you to be able to help your clients say that about you, because I want to give you the tools that I've developed that blend IFS therapy, higher consciousness, mediation law, and put it into compassionate mediation. There is a compassionate mediation certification. I'm going to be starting a new cohort soon. If you're interested, get the roadmap at lindakroll.com/roadmap, and that will put you on the road to learning more about it and having an opportunity to set up a 15-minute call with me, and we can talk about it and see if it's something you'd like to do. If you join me in either the training or the certification, I'm going to give you all the tools that I've used. Again, get the roadmap, help your clients, help yourself. And a final reminder, if you feel you might be sinking, don't just flower. Let me help you. Let me offer you my hand, my heart, my education, and remind you it's not what you're doing, it's who you are being. I want to help you be your best self. I want to help you show up as that calm, clear, compassionate, loving person that you are. I want to help you bring that to your relationship, whether you're considering a separation or divorce, in the middle of it or past it. You can bring your best self. And I put the XO as XOs because that's how I sign off on everything, to my heart to your heart, sending love. If you want the book, you can get the free chapter at lindakroll.com book. You can get the roadmap at lindakroll.com roadmap. From my heart to your heart, what I truly want to offer you is the benefit of my personal experience of loving someone, of eventually having to separate and leave someone, of having the aftermath of that, and what I've learned to do, what I learned not to do. I want to give you the benefit of my 35 years of experience as an internal family systems therapist, mediator, attorney, all that I learned at the Chopra Center about spiritual growth and higher consciousness. If you have any questions about learning with me, about working with me, about the certification or trainings, please contact me. And again, from my heart to yours, we can change the face of divorce one heart at a time, starting with your heart, starting with the hearts of your clients. And I'm here to help.